So welcome back to the channel, and in this video we'll be reacting to Alan Watts' Wu Wei. Wu Wei principle is a very famous principle in philosophy, and it was given by Lao Tzu, I think. Yes. So let's start the lecture. So one, two, three, go.
The whole conception of nature is as a self-regulating, self-governing, indeed democratic organism.
Hmm.
But it has a totality.
Wait, which
Self-regulating, self the whole conception of nature
okay.
is as a self-regulating,
Hmm.
self-governing, indeed democratic organism.
Ki by nature we understand that it's something that is governing by itself. There is no one to govern that. So yeah, he's telling that.
But it has a totality. It all goes together, and this
Hmm.
totality is the Tao. When we speak in Taoism of following the course of nature, following the way, what
Hmm.
it means is more like this:
The nature.
doing things in accordance with the grain. It doesn't mean you don't cut wood,
Hmm.
but it means that you cut wood along the lines where wood is most easy to cut. And you interact with other people along lines which are the
Hmm.
most genial.
That means कि you're cutting the wood, but you're not forcing yourself to cut the wood. And yes, and the second example, when you're interacting with people, you're not forcefully going there and disturbing them and then interacting. It is happening naturally. We are walking by the streets and someone I know, I saw him and then I got to talk to him. It was not like I was sitting there in another corner of the world and then I forcefully went to that guy and spoke to that guy. No, it doesn't happen that way. Yeah, it's a very good way to say.
And this then is the great fundamental principle which is called Wu Wei.
Hmm. Okay, so I think up till now I understand the Wu Wei. Wu Wei means not forcing anything, going by nature.
Not to force
Hmm.
anything. I think that's the best translation. It's often called not doing, not
Hmm.
acting, not interfering, but not to force.
Hmm.
Seems to me to hit the nail on the head. Like, don't ever force a lock, or you bend the key or break the lock. You jiggle until it revolves.
Hmm.
So Wu Wei is always to act in accordance with the pattern of
Nature.
things as they exist.
Hmm.
Don't impose on any situation a kind of interference
Hmm.
that is not really in accordance with the situation.
Hmm.
It would be better to do nothing than to interfere without knowing the system of relations that exists. It's terribly important then to have this feeling
Hmm.
of the interdependence of every form of life upon every other form of life. How we, for example, cultivate animals that we eat and look after them and build them up and see that they breed in reasonable quantities. You have to see that life, that the so-called conflict of various species with each other is not actually a competition. It's a very strange system of interrelationship,
Hmm.
of things.
It's like two animals don't kill each other because they are forcing that. The nature requires to do that. So the nature is telling them, like I'm speaking hypothetically, in an abstract way, I'm trying to explain it, that the animal is not deciding that I will kill that animal now. So the competition which you see within animals, it's not artificial. It's very natural that when the two animals of opposite species are growing together, they will not kill each other instantly. When they will see that the nutrients are limited now and I need to take that nutrient, then the animals start fighting with each other, quarreling with each other. They do not go in the first place and kill each other so that I can take all the nutrients which is left. No, they are very estimated, they are very well accurately planned, I would say. So that's what Alan Watts is saying, that you don't have to act unnaturally or artificially. The interaction with the people you want will happen if it have to happen. You don't have to force.
Things feeding on each other and cultivating each other at the same time. The idea of the friendly enemy, the necessary adversary,
It
who
is
is part of
necessary.
you.
When it's not necessary, they don't act. And when it is necessary, they don't have to act because the nature will act through it. You're getting the beauty of this idea, Wu Wei. That Wu Wei simply means not forcing anything. That means that if the thing is not necessary enough to happen, it will not happen. And if the thing is necessary, then it will happen irrespectively to you, to your nature, that whatever you're thinking, you will act like that because it's necessary now. So wait for the moment when it's necessary. Don't act when things are not necessary. That's what Wu Wei is all about.
You have conflicts going on in your own body.
Hmm.
All kinds of microorganisms are eating each other up. And if that wasn't happening, you wouldn't be healthy. So all those interrelationships, whether they
Hmm.
appear to be friendly relationships as
Hmm.
between bees and flowers,
All those relationships are very natural. They're killing each other because it's necessary. They're not killing each other because of some sort of ego problem. That's what Alan Watts is
or
trying to say.
conflicting relationships as between birds and worms,
Hmm.
they are actually forms of cooperation. And that is
Hmm.
mutual arising. You have to
And there's one concept in microbiology too, because I'm a microbiology student. So there's a concept of mutualism. So algae and fungus, they come together and form lichen. So that's the thing. They're mutualistic, and so what happens is that the algae does photosynthesis, and the fungus holds the stratum, the substratum. So fungus gives algae the place he wants, and the algae gives food to the fungus that he wants. So they are fulfilling both of their wants and they are living happily. So that's what mutualism and mutual and cooperation is. That you're not acting unnecessarily. You're only acting when it's necessary, and when it's necessary, you don't even have to act because it will flow through it. It's like when you're hungry, you don't sit around and think and you be confused about what will I eat. You just go there and see anything and eat. So that's what Wu Wei is. When it's necessary, it will happen through it. It will flow.
understand this as the basis, apply this, not forcing anything,
Hmm.
and you get spontaneity. A life which is so of itself, which is natural, which is
Hmm.
not forced, which is not unduly self-conscious. Now, another term that is important, although I'm not aware that this word occurs in Lao Tzu's book, it's found in greater use at a much later time in Chinese thought, in a philosophy that is called Neo-Confucian, and it's also used in Buddhism. But it is a very useful word for understanding the sort of order that all this constitutes. It's the word li, and this means originally the markings in jade, or perhaps the grain in wood or the fiber in muscle. It is translated nowadays in most dictionaries as reason or principle, but this isn't a very good translation. Joseph Needham suggested that organic pattern was an
Hmm.
ideal translation for this word. And so in the same way, the foam patterns, the rock patterns, the patterns of vegetation are once extraordinarily orderly, but they don't have an obvious order. Nobody can ever pin it down, that's what I'd like to say. You know that there is order there. There's something quite different from a mess, but there's no way of really getting it. Now, in order to be able to paint that sort of way, or to live that sort of way, or to deliver justice that way, if you were a judge. You have to have it innately. You have to have an essential sense of Li, and there's no way of prescribing it. This is the very devil for teachers, because you see all our universities and schools are trying to teach creativity. That's the great thing these days, you know, and you hear at the Esalen
Yeah, it's very counterintuitive to see that the teachers are trying to teach creativity, and creativity being the thing which can't be taught, which is just expressed. So if a student's jokes very unique, if a student's jokes are very unique, that means he is creative in that particular field of joking, and it was not taught by someone to him. It just came naturally to him. So nowadays, like teachers, the schools, and the universities trying to teach subjects like creativity. I don't think that creativity can be taught. If the creativity can be taught, then the creativity is not there, because it will be a max subject then. It will be max science subject then. Creativity is not a serious thing. It's not a subject thing. It's about thinking differently, thinking uniquely, thinking out of the box.
all sorts of people are giving courses and workshops, you know, and you hear at the Esalen all sorts of people are giving courses and workshops in creativity. Now, the trouble is this: if we found out a method whereby we could teach creativity,
Hmm.
and everybody could just explain how it was done, it would no longer be of interest. What
Hmm.
always is an essential element in
And also, like in creative tasks, in creativity, there's some sort of secret that is embedded within it, and because of that secret, we all always get attracted to it. That if I laugh hard at some jokes, then I am I am confused, or I could say I am finding things in the jokes that are very amusing to me, but at the same time I don't know the reason behind it. That why is it so amusing? Why am I so laughing hard?
the creative is the mysterious. And so, again and again in Taoist literature, you will
Yes.
find this character, Xuan, which means the deep, the dark. It's like the black in lacquer, the impenetrable, and yet the profound depth out of which glorious things come, but nobody can see why. This very much goes together with Tao. When there's a place in the Lao Tzu book where he says that the spirit of the valley never dies. Well, the spirit of the valley, the deep ravine, is this. There's a poem which says that when the bird calls, the mountain becomes more mysterious. You imagine, for example, you're in a mountain valley and everything is very silent, and suddenly a crow squawks somewhere. You don't know where that crow is, and that little sound emphasizes the silence. Silence becomes deeper and deeper. Well,
Hmm.
this word is used for the kind of
Ah.
mysteriousness which that bird's call creates. So these two words together are used in Japanese, the expression yugen. And yugen is a quality which the poet Soami, who was a great artist of the No plays, said, yugen is to watch wild geese flying and be hidden in a cloud, to watch ships sailing in the distance and to disappear behind a far-off island, to wander on and on in a great forest without thought of return. Now, all those things have in them, you see, an element of mystery. There's a Chinese poem which puts it this way. It is a poem written by a man who has gone to find a sage in the
Hmm.
mountains. And the sage has a little hut at the foot of the mountain and a boy there who is his servant. I asked the boy beneath the pines. He said the master's gone alone, herb gathering somewhere on the mount, cloud hidden, whereabouts unknown.
He was.
And this also creates the mood of Yugen. The hermit, you see, is a kind of Yugen personality. He's a very valuable person and a very wise person, but nobody knows where he is. And ever
Hmm.
so many Chinese poems are concerned with the life of hermits, seeking after hermits, and the wonder of hermits who totally disappear altogether. There's this funny idea of the deep and the dark, the thing that is important just because you can't quite understand it. Now, to Westerners, all that tends to... Now, to Westerners, all that tends to sound rather hopeless. You say, if you
Hmm.
can't tell us how it's
Yeah,
done,
you would see that the poems of the Westerners, the philosophy of Westerners are very much depressive, or I would say it's like there is no meaning in life, what you will do, what you will do being alive, what's the point of being alive? And towards the opposite side, there's Eastern philosophy, which says that you don't need anyone to be happy. You can be at peace being alone. The life is meaningless, but it's fine, it's mine. The life is ours, right? What happened if there's no meaning in life? We are still alive, we are still breathing. So why can't we just be happy and peaceful about it? That we are being alive at this point. So Eastern philosophy are like this, and the Westerns are completely different. That the Westerners thinks that if there is no meaning to life, then what's the point of living? But Eastern philosophy says that if there is no meaning in life, then it is so comfortable to live because there is no goal to fulfill. There is no point. So why can't we live just peacefully in the moment and we enjoy every moment? So it's like slightly perspective difference in Western philosophy and Eastern philosophy.
what's the use? And that, you see, is because we have insufficient trust in ourselves.
Hmm.
We
Trust in
think
me.
that we'll never be able to do certain things unless we have
Hmm.
instructions as to how to do it. This comes, of course,
Hmm.
partly from our toilet training. Mama gets anxious that it won't happen and starts making commandments about it.
Hmm.
And then you have to have courses. And one of the funniest stories I heard was somebody was in a hotel in Europe, in England somewhere, and was going downstairs, and suddenly there was a room, where they have committee meeting rooms, and there were a whole chorus of people saying, "We haven't today, but we will tomorrow. We haven't today, but we will tomorrow." I said, "What on earth is that?" Oh,
Hmm.
somebody said,
Because pooping is a natural, peeing is a natural thing. Why are you so serious about pooping that if it will not come tomorrow, if it will not come today, then it will come tomorrow? What is that sense coming from? It's coming from instruction based learning, that someone else is telling you how to do it. So you become so habituated to that thing that even while pooping is a natural phenomenon. Every living organism does that. Even in that, you are thinking of someone else instruction to be instructed, and you're repeating lines. So that's what the side effects of this machine mechanical learning is, that you become so much in instruction based that you forget the natural inclinations of your body, natural behaviors of the body.
"That is Dr. Kue's constipation class."
Very true.
The
Okay, so it's
Taoist
stopping.
idea is not like that, you see.
Hmm. Yeah, so you can sum up the Taoist idea with this particular example, that Taoist says that everything has a natural way to do it, has a natural way to do the thing. And if you're disrupting that natural way, then you are acting artificial, unnatural, and that is not healthy. That's what Taoist says. That you don't have to force things. It will happen. Don't worry. The poop will come out, the shit. will come out. Don't worry about that. You are only worrying about that because you have received instruction based education, and that type of education induces lack of self trust within ourselves. That's the whole concept of Taoist philosophy, that do not force anything, even poop. Even pooping will come natural to you.
Let it happen. It
Let it
will.
happen.
Trust in yourself, because
Yeah,
your own organism
trust
fulfills
in
these things
yourself, have faith in
spontaneously.
yourself, and just live through the moment. And yeah, it's a brilliant point that Ellen Watts mentioned. Forget about the principle. Let's come to the reality of life. In reality, too, you will see before this principle came out, everybody was living, right? So this principle is not something out of the world. It's someone who was intelligent enough to see that forcing things is not a good idea, and it always ends up in a sad place. So why not be just present and just breathe through life, and everything that happens will naturally come to you. You don't have to force things to happen. That's what Wu principle is, and Alan Watts is damn accurate on this. I hope you like this video, and if you do like this video, then please do subscribe to my channel. I'll bring this type of videos in future also. So bye bye until next time. Bye.